Okay, so the variable manufacturing overhead variances are actually very similar to the material and labor, and thank heavens, because we can solve these fairly easily. Luckily, you guys didn't have to do the fixed overhead variances, which are significantly more complicated than the variable ones. Okay, so a lot of words here. Let me see if I can kind of break it down. This is the formula. So our spending variance is our actual variable overhead cost per unit of allocation base. So what we're looking for here is what is our cost per unit divided by the allocation base, which in our case we know that allocation base is direct labor hours. And we're going to subtract the budgeted variable overhead cost per unit of allocation base, which is actually given to us right here. So we know that the standard cost per hour is $2. And we're going to multiply that by the actual quantity of overhead allocation base used. So again, we're basically saying what is the actual quantity of allocation based used for actual output. Well, how many actual direct labor hours did we use? 2,300. So what we need to do, and this information isn't given to us, we need to figure out the actual cost per direct labor hour. And we just have to do this math here. So we know the actual manufacturing overhead was 5175. We know the actual hours of allocation base was 2,300. So you divide that and you get 225. So the actual cost is 225 per direct labor hour. Now, this is going to give us an unfavorable variance because the actual cost is higher than the standard cost. So that 25 cents times 2,300 hours gives us a 575 unfavorable spending variance. Now let's look at the efficiency variance. So we held quantity constant and looked at the change in price. Here we're going to do just the opposite. We're going to keep the price constant and look at the change in quantity. So the budgeted price is per labor hour of overhead is $2. And now we're going to look at what is the change in these amounts. So the actual quantity of allocation base. Again, we've used that number a couple of times. It's 2,300 hours. Well, how many hours should we have used to make 12,000 bags? Well, we'll have to do some math for that, right? So 12,000 bags. Each bag should have used 0.2 hours. You multiply that out and you get 2,400 hours. So the budgeted amount should have been 2,400. So now we're going to have a favorable variance, right? We didn't take us as many hours as we had planned. So that is a $200 favorable variance, right? The difference between this is 100 times 2 is 200. So then our total variable manufacturing overhead variance is 575 unfavorable spending plus 200 favorable efficiency gives us 375 unfavorable.